Hi guys, Black Chicken Ranch here. Today I want to talk about nettles and my neighbor invited me up to her place. She has a nettle patch and here are the nettles that I picked. Now here's the thing about nettles. I want to tell you a little bit about them first. Nettle is a big leaf. They look kind of pointy and they're called stinging nettles, and that's because on their stems they have little hairs, and the hairs are what sting you. The leaves don't sting you. So nettles are an excellent source of vitamin C, and the stalks have a bunch of iron. They have iron and vitamin C in them. And the cool thing is your body needs vitamin C in order to digest iron. So isn't that neat that they're all together in this little plant? Plus, of course, they have other micronutrients that we need. And I like to put them in green smoothies. I steamed some this morning with my eggs, but also what I wanted to do was make a nettle pesto sauce. And so what I want to do is make it, and then I'm going to just preserve it and keep it so that the next time I want to make something with pesto, I have it. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this. So the first thing you need is a pot of boiling water, which I already have on. We're going to go in a moment. And the other thing I wanted to let you know about is when you handle these, if you're not going to just touch the leaves like I just did, you want to use tongs or something, which I'll show you as well, because you don't want to get that stinging. If you do get the stinging, you can juice these like in a juicer and then just rinse the juice over wherever your sting is, and it will help to alleviate some of that pain. It won't go away right away, but it will certainly reduce it, and then it'll get better faster. All right, let's go make some pesto. So we're going to use tongs, and we're going to put them in a pan. Now, one thing about your pan is you want to also make sure it's really good metal. It's not aluminum. It will affect the flavor of them. If you need to cut them, you can cut them up a little bit. I use my kitchen scissors and I would just snip away. Sorry. So maybe I'll do that here because some of these are pretty big stalks. Anyway, the reason we're blanching these is because once you cook them, they won't sting you. And we don't need to keep them in here very long. I'm looking at the clock. It says 2:36. We only need to keep them in here for like 4 minutes. I'm going to stop with that amount right there because that should be enough for pesto. So here, once 4 minutes goes by, then what I'm going to do is pull them out and put them in an ice bath to immediately stop their cooking, and then we'll get on. Okay, so the next step you want to do is get your pesto, or get your nettle. Now you can touch it because it's cooked, but it's cold, right? And I put it on a paper towel to absorb some of the water, because especially if you're going to put the pesto up, like you're going to save it for later, you really want to try to get as much moisture out as you can, because it can spoil it. But you can also freeze it too. Now, if you're going to use the pesto right away, then this doesn't matter as much. You also need salt. You can use Parmesan cheese, but I substitute that for nutritional yeast because I am dairy free. 3 cloves of garlic here, and pine nuts, which you can do toasted or not toasted. I'm going to start putting this stuff together in the blender, and then also I will include in the comments the exact quantities of the ingredients. Also ingredient here is olive oil. Now, how much olive oil I'm going to say will depend, because if you want to make a spread, like for sandwiches, you would use a little less. And then if you want to make more for like pasta, then you would do a little bit more. Okay, I have all the ingredients here except for the olive oil. I'm going to pour that in as it starts to go and just let it drizzle in there so I can kind of monitor how much I want and the consistency. I just have it on a very low setting just to get it going. I prefer my blender over my food processor for this. It just makes it finer, more finely chopped up. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little bit more power here. I'm gonna put the lid back on it. There's just one little piece here that needs to be pushed down. I'll do that in a minute. Alrighty, so I was pushing stuff down in here and you can see the consistency is pretty thick, but also stringy. I don't want it to be stringy. So I'm gonna power up the blender and do it a little bit higher and then see how that goes. Okay, so I added a little bit more olive oil and then I blended it at a little higher speeds, and you can see the texture is a little better. And actually I just tasted it and it is really good. I would even say adding a little bit of lemon could do it some justice too, but it is really good, especially if you like garlic. Now, if you're not a super big fan of garlic, 2 cloves would be enough. This is pretty garlicky, but I love it that way. I think I'm gonna use this on some pasta. So there you go. That's how you make pesto from wild stinging nettle. Hopefully that puts your patch of nettle to some good use if you've been wondering what to do with it. Another tip you can do with your nettle is to dry the leaves and make tea. It's really good to increase iron if you're iron deficient. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'd love to hear how your pesto turns out. Have a great one.